Hi everyone, I'm Damien and I am a public speaking and performance coach, helping people to achieve their very best. Now, I'm making another video for you guys because I really wanted to identify and explain to you what causes fear of public speaking. Now, in my last video I said that there is actually no such thing as a fear of public speaking. It's all about a fear of being rejected and a fear of failure. But I really wanted to look at, well, what's going on really when a person's getting up in front of an audience and all of a sudden they become a nervous wreck. So what I'm going to do is I've got a diagram that I'm going to show you. So just have a look at this. So what we have here is a diagram which actually illustrates what is going on when a person experiences strong performance anxiety or public speaking fear. Now, this diagram really shows what's happening beneath the surface when somebody who is otherwise pretty confident starts to experience a whole host of negative emotions related to speaking or performing in public. So here on the left, we have core beliefs. Now, in my last video, I spoke a little bit about how we develop our core beliefs. But essentially, a core belief is a belief that we hold about ourselves that we think is true. Core beliefs are usually developed early on in our life, and they are reinforced as we get older. So an example of some of the negative core beliefs a person could hold about themselves might be, I'm not a good public speaker. I am weak. I'm not up to my job. I'm not good enough. I am a failure. I'm incompetent. I'm a disappointment. Now, it's important to mention that often core beliefs are so deeply buried that a person isn't even aware that they hold these beliefs. These beliefs often operate at what I call a heart level or a subconscious level rather than a head or a conscious level. Now, let's say a person has a core belief that they are weak and they are not good enough. As mentioned, they may or may not be aware that they actually believe this deep down. So they are then asked to give a presentation. And what happens is the core belief then fuels and triggers their thoughts. Now, the thoughts that this person will begin to experience will be along the lines of, public speaking is hard. I cannot cope with this. Everyone can see I am nervous. They think I am weak. I'm not good enough at this. I'm going to mess this up. So, as you can see, the core beliefs are directly creating the thoughts that a person experiences. And the way that I often explain it to people is that our thoughts are like a DVD, like a movie. And as these thoughts are activated, we sit back and we watch them in the same way that we would watch a negative film. The more that we watch these thoughts going round and round in our head, the more we listen to the voice that speaks these thoughts, the more insecure, anxious, and fearful we feel. So as you can see here, our emotions are a direct result of the thoughts that we are thinking. So if we are experiencing any negative emotion whatsoever, then it is guaranteed that we are thinking a negative thought. Sometimes the negative thought may be so subtle we may not even be aware of it. But there is always a negative thought that precedes a negative emotion. So, in the public speaking example that we were talking about, a person experiencing panic, anxiety and terror will then go on to create their reality, their public speaking reality. And what that means is that obviously anybody who experiences such strong negative emotions will not be able to perform at their optimum. So they may give a presentation or do a speaking event and it may not go as well as they had hoped. So this unsuccessful speaking event, it then serves to reinforce the core belief. So the person, after they've given their presentation and it didn't go very well because they felt so panicked and anxious, they will look back at that event and say, see, I knew it. I knew I was incompetent and I knew I was inferior. And that presentation I just did, that confirms it. So what happens, this core belief is reinforced and the whole cycle continues again. Now, for those of you that have been speaking in public for years and years and have never become confident at it, this diagram explains why. Because what happens with a person who has a negative core belief about themselves, which is triggered by a public speaking event, is that any negative or disappointing public speaking event, any sense of failure, only reinforces the core belief. So it doesn't matter how often a person speaks in public, rehearses and practices. If they have a negative core belief, any time the presentation isn't up to the standard that they would like, the core belief is reinforced. Okay, and the cycle continues. Now the only way to break this cycle is to look at this side here, the core beliefs. Because this is where it all stems from. The core beliefs are triggering the thoughts, creating the emotions, and then creating the reality. Often when you see attempts to overcome public speaking anxiety, when people say that they can help others overcome public speaking anxiety, they look at this. They start here and they look at the emotions, panic, anxiety, terror, and they try and quell the emotions. Or they look here and they start and deal with the thoughts. Okay? Start to get you doing some positive thinking. But unfortunately, there is a deeper core belief that will always override anything that you do here on the right side. Okay? So we need to start up here. Okay? And that is really the only way that we can break this cycle. So I'm just going to go back to the main page. So I hope that helps you to understand a bit more about public speaking fear, performance anxiety, what it is, and what's actually happening. Please check back for more videos because I'll be posting what we can actually do to break that cycle that I've just illustrated. So please comment on the videos and subscribe if you find them helpful, and also visit my website www.reenvision.org. The link is below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
And they say it's impossible.